Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It's Stephen here, live on Sunday the 9th of February. Mine and Nico's Valentine's, actually, a Valentine's anniversary. 11 years. 11 years now. You know, not married 11 years. Had a lovely day. In a much better mood than I was at full-time yesterday. Yesterday, I'll be honest, it was a reasonably negative video from me. I felt a little bit in my head about Manchester City's performance, and I wasn't overtly positive or I was a little bit pessimistic. I think time, as always, has sort of healed that a little bit. I feel much better today about where City are at than I did last night. And honestly, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea all out the cup. Yusuf's not wrong there, man. We could genuinely go on to win this. And at this point, I would expect that we are favourites, and I would be disappointed if we didn't find some form with the players that we've got. We are through. It was a difficult game, and most of my reaction yesterday was built around it. I guess the mood, the anxiety around Manchester City and where we're at. But ultimately, I think it is probably true to add the caveats. We've had performances like this against lower league sides in previous years. Yes, we absolutely have. And yes, the pitch was minging. The weather was minging. Lots of new lads, lots of young players, disjointed system. It was probably going to be a bit of a struggle. But ultimately, if you look at the stats, City probably dominated. We probably would have won comfortably without a freak 50-yard goal and an injury to our DM 20 minutes in. And ultimately, I think City did fine. You know, a few missed chances here and there. If we'd taken the Marmoush chances, a Gundogan chance, I think De Bruyne had a chance before he scored. Grealish had a chance. Ultimately, if we take our chances, that would have been a comfortable 4-0 without a free goal. So I'm not going to moan too much, actually. I think it's just my anxiety kicking in. There was plenty to talk about, though. It mainly does evolve around the new boys and the young lads. I thought there was some narratives that deserved a little bit more attention. I would like to say, if you are new to the channel, please give the video a like, and please consider subscribing. Just checking how many subscribers I've got right now on the channel. It does mean the world to me and help me do this. In general, I enjoy making Manchester City videos. I've been fortunate to do it full time for a few years now. And if you want to keep seeing that, please keep sharing the videos. Please keep giving the video likes. Encourage people to subscribe. It helps. Like 100 people watching now and 10 likes. Come on, can we do it? Recently got to 72,000. It'd be good to get to 75,000 before my son is born. My other son is born by the end of the season. So let's see if we can get there. 75k before I've got 2 kids. That's what I want. Or 80k, that'd be even better. I'll start with the first thing I want to talk about. Let me just make sure I've actually got it all set up right. Have I? I have got it right. It's the title of this video, and it's, to me, the thing that I was most positive after watching that game about. Abdukoir Khusanov. I really enjoyed his 45 minutes yesterday. He came off the bench, and once again, the caveats do apply. It was Leyton Orient. It wasn't the most important game in the world. It wasn't the highest quality. I get it. But ultimately, I think you get a feel for a footballer. You can see it. You can sense what they're all about. And to me, Khusanov, I was really impressed by that cameo. 45 minutes, roughly 50 minutes given the injury time, of a physical, aggressive performance. I love seeing a defender that relishes defending. That would sound like a given, wouldn't it? But it's not always the case. I've seen far too many passive technical footballers who stand off and let others make the difficult decisions, and I hate it when they do that. Khusanov, for me, is he's a proper in the weeds kind of central defense. He loves to be in the mess, in the noise. He loves to be physical. We saw signs yesterday as well of that pace that we were promised that he had on the recovery. He's lightning quick. He really is. Lightning quick footballer. Strong. He has that barreling sort of pace as well. When he gets going, it looks like a freight train that you're not going to be able to stop. Put it this way, I can imagine there's a few things that hurt in world football, well, just in life in general. I can imagine, being hit by Mike Tyson really hurt. Childbirth, I'm sure, really hurts. I don't know. A kick down below really hurts. And then probably a shoulder barge from Khusanov. Absolute painful when he's at full pace. It looks, honestly, a battering ram of a footballer. When he signed for Manchester City, I got a DM from a friend that I mentioned a few times on this channel now who works in football, and he said, "Guy, you've got a good one there, mate. He's a talent and a half." And I said, "Well, what about his inexperience?" He went, "All young 20-year-old centre-backs have experience, but he's got all the physical tools, and he's a great learner, and he's an absolute monster defensively." And he is. You can tell he relishes he relishes the physicality. He relishes defensive battles. And once you've added the English language to his repertoire, which is really going to help with communication, experience, and technically he already looks pretty smart, by the way. I'm not worried about him technically at all. I think once he becomes 25 years old, he's older, he speaks English. I can imagine we're getting a leader here, a proper leader. So to me, Khusanov, you can see the appeal. This is a guy he's a proper defender. He's fast, he's strong, he's good in the air. And it wasn't even just that. The first action, actually, of the second half for him was a deep cross to the back post. You might remember the one where he just sort of got ahead of the defender and knocked it round out for a corner. Really smart defending, and good decision-making. Ruben Diaz with pace. Lads, I'll take that. I absolutely will take that. And of course, I don't even mention he got his first goal as well, which felt beautiful given the juxtaposition of his moves of the two games. Well, obviously the first game was a big mistake. The second one, he got his goal. It's just nice to see. So I think this guy could be something of a bit of a cult hero with his physicality. One day he's going to body a world-class player, and I can't wait to see it when he pushes some of the pitch. It'll be beautiful. Second thing I want to talk about is, let me go over, where is it? I want to talk about, where's my categories gone? I can't find the editing tools I use. What have I done with it? There we go. I want to talk about Nico Gonzalez. Look, it was only 20 minutes. I understand. It was only 22 minutes, and he did fall over. Though I've actually watched that back in slow motion. I've gone back and forth thinking he's too strong, he's too weak there, or is it a foul? And actually, I watched it in slow motion, like literally 0.25 speed, a quarter of the speed of real time. And you can see there's zero things he can do there. He starts to run. The guy needs the back of his leg, and there's not a single person in the world, if you get kneed in the back at a sprint by a guy who's 6 foot, wouldn't feel that and fall over. So I don't actually blame him for that. He got kneed in the back of the legs, the tangle of the legs, and he fell over. But before that, I was looking for a few little attributes. The thing that I was excited by is that immediate technical ability. The Rodri diagonal was the thing that got me going. There was 2 or 3 things he did. The first thing was he won a few headers in his own area. Pure Rodri, that. I know it's a low bar here, but what I'm saying is we've had Gundogan, Bernardo, Kovacic. They cannot win headers in their own area. This guy can, because he's tall and he's strong and he has the defensive awareness. 2, he had the Rodri-esque diagonals over the top. It was the pass to Savinho, which should have led to a goal when he cut it back to Gundogan, who somehow, I don't know, man, don't know what happened there, but that guy was all over the place. He just conked out a little bit. But either way, it was a beautiful pass, and it's something that I feel like we've been missing this season more than anything. I said, and I didn't think it's 100% accurate, but I meant we'll miss Rodri's creativity potentially just as much as his defensive ability. We miss his defensive ability more in hindsight, but we definitely miss Rodri's creative ability. And Rodri had it's that diagonal pass that breaks the lines, and no one else really does it. Gundogan used to do an awful lot. Still can, but rarely does anymore. But Nico Gonzalez immediately did that in behind. It was really encouraging because it makes a big difference, And the third thing I noticed, he did a tactical foul at one point where he just took the guy out on a counter. And that, to me, is just beautiful. Once again, 3 very Rodri-coded things there. He's not Rodri, of course, I understand that. And there was a couple of times where, you could tell he wasn't used to the weather and got caught on his feet a little bit. But to me, there were signs of promise. You can see why City have solved this guy. And once he's fully adapted, once he's up speed, once he's playing in a confident Manchester City, it's one of those things where I can see, but no one cares about his technical abilities. I disagree entirely, Nerlan. If we just get a destroyer who can't pass the ball, we're going to be screwed anyway because Guardiola demands a technical footballer. But I've just talked about, one, his aerial ability, and I talked about the third thing was his ability to do a tactical foul and read the situation. Those things to me were signs of a smart footballer and a defensive-minded footballer. So he'll get better at that, And I can't wait to see how it goes. He's going to be sitting alongside Rodri one day, and I can't wait to see. We don't know about the injury yet. There's been absolutely no updates. I suspect Guardiola, City play on, we play what day do we? We play on Tuesday. So there'll be a press conference tomorrow. Guardiola will be asked about it, or we'll see it in open training tomorrow. I don't think he'll be involved for Madrid, but I don't think it's anything serious, personally. I'm not too concerned about it. The third thing I want to talk about is O'Reilly. I couldn't even find a photo of him yesterday, by the way. He was just not online anywhere. But Nico O'Reilly absolutely has to stay and develop. I'm doing this right now off the back of watching people go mental online currently for Morgan Rogers. Everyone's saying we should never have sold Morgan Rogers. Look, I feel that's a little bit disingenuous. Barely anyone saw it coming. It's one of those things where he did well, Morgan Rogers, for the academy, but he didn't do amazing. No one was bothered when he left. He had a decent loan before he joined Middlesbrough. He was a good player, man, but he wasn't a special player. He didn't stand out. Sometimes players can move away, take a little bit of time to adapt, and they become who they are. And the reason I'm talking about Morgan Rogers is because it's one of those things where, he's a 6'2", barreling, technical, excellent footballer who's slowly made his way to the top over a couple of years and become a bit of a superstar. But we had no obvious signs of his first team potential because he was never involved in the first team. The difference here from Nico O'Reilly is we've got a guy, once again, very similar physical profile, technically good, but he's already involved in the first team, and we're already seeing signs of a guy who could be a very excellent footballer. It's not the same as Morgan Rogers. We cannot let this one slip. We cannot watch Kompany be brilliant and Morgan Rogers be great and Romeo Lavia and all these guys, and then have Nico O'Reilly, who has all the physical tools, all the technical ability, and has some good cameos. And yesterday, Nico O'Reilly was good. 4 key passes. He made a beautiful through ball to Jack Grealish. He made one to the back post for someone else. A couple of really nice inside passes. A few strong tackles. A couple of decent little dribbles. There was a couple of little out sloppy passes, but he barely had any plays. But the point I was making is this guy's 6'2", technically very good. He's creative. He's strong because he's physical. He's big. He honestly could be some footballer one day. He has to stay and develop. I hope Guardiola, I hope this is part of the new, thing under Viana, that we're told to sort of keep these young players and develop them. I'd be devastated if he leaves. If he's going to go anywhere, get him out on loan or sell him with a very obvious buyback. You know what I mean? Send him out on loan to play regularly and bring him back a year later, but don't let him go because the talent is really there. Varane with a super chat. Thank you so much, Varane. Massively appreciate it, my friend. You said, love you, bro. Following since Blue Moon Rising. Thank you so much, mate. That's really kind. That's been a long time, pal. But I massively appreciate it. Varane, thank you so much, my mate. Love you too, pal. It's really nice. I mean, people been watching me that long always blows my mind a little bit because that is a lifetime ago. I'm a different person, man. I've got that on my finger. I've got a kid, another one on the way. I'm married. It's just a different lifetime. So thank you so much, mate. It really is appreciated that you're here still. So, not all Rogers tweets for jokes, by the way, City Slacker. I've seen quite a few people, be serious about it because everyone likes to moan, It's one of those things where that season we won the treble, you know what I mean? So we have to be realistic about where we're at, and where Morgan Rogers was at the time. So yeah, but Nico O'Reilly, there's absolutely no excuse. He has to stay and develop, in my personal opinion. There's too much talent there. It's very obvious. He's not really hiding it. He has a positive impact physically, technically on the game every single time he's on the pitch. Get this guy to stay around. He could be a monster one day. I just imagine one day. Imagine he actually becomes a good midfielder, and you got Rodri back, and you got Nico Gonzalez there, and O'Reilly. That is 3 monsters of a midfielder. And this guy used to be a number 10. Rodri likes to get forward and score goals. Nico Gonzalez likes to get forward and score goals. Look, if you had flying wing backs or flying forwards, and you had those 3 body in a midfield, technically good, that could be genuinely quite scary one day. Then add the little whippets like Echeverri or Oscar Bob and whatever around him, and you could have a really physical but special team. And I don't mind him playing this left-back role, by the way. I think he's learning, so long as he's on the pitch, I'm happy. Vitor Reis hints at a bright future. Now, once again, this is me extrapolating, from very little information. I'm not going to sit here once again and tell you he was world-class and he was brilliant and all that kind of stuff. But I liked what I saw of him. There is the caveat I saw. I mean, he's slight. That guy, the wind could blow him away in a tough day. He's not a strong lad already. You can see that. But once again, he's an 18-year-old lad. And I remember, I'm never big, but I got a lot broader as I got older naturally. And I think it'll be the same for him. You look at photos of Phil Foden, or even, he looks like John Stones when he was 18, actually. John Stones at 18 years old was slight. He was a tiny boy, and he got bigger and got older as he grows. There's not much you can do about being small at his age. He'll just grow. He'll just grow and become, much bigger as he gets older. So, and I'm fine with that. But what I did see from Vitor Reis is a footballer that's smart, that's composed, very languid looking. He's one of those sort of young players. He looks like all footballers that are strolling around, everything at their own pace. But there's a couple of nice little flicks or first-time passes on the half volley that impressed me. I must admit, he looks a little bit far off where I thought he'd be given the value, but we're paying for potential here, which is a risky business, If it was 15 million, I feel a bit more calm, but 30 million is an awful lot of money for a guy who clearly has got a long way to go, I would argue. He needs a year or two, and I don't know how. I don't know. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe it's just he's early on, but I definitely feel he needs to grow into his physicality or his size, which could take literally just a couple of years. And that, for me, is something to consider there because it's an awful lot of money. But he does hint at a bright future. He's clearly smart. He's clearly comfortable, technically good. Didn't look the fastest, but then I've seen clips of where he looks a lot faster. It could have been just the pitch, the weather. I don't know. He could sharpness. Who knows? But he was definitely struggling to get going at one point. But a couple of decent. Headers as well and so on. So look, he looks like another player that will have to be calm and be patient with, but looks smart. It looks like he's got a bright future. A couple more super chats, thank you so much. Aju Sabu says, sorry mate if I ever butchered your name. I try my best, but I'm just never been good at these things. I've always tried. Says, you said Nico's pass to Savini yesterday reminded me of Rodri. I touched on that earlier on in the video, actually, mate. But yeah, I'm in agreement. I think there was more than a little bit Rodri to his game, and that to me is very exciting. You know, look, it's a long way to go to be the best player in the world, but those diagonals are pure Rodri fodder, and we need that right now. So thank you so much, mate. I absolutely agree. Exciting stuff. He also said as well, thank you so much again. Said being shameless here, but happy Liverpool not winning the treble. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Have you ever won the treble? Have you flip? Absolutely, mate. Look, I replied to someone on Twitter earlier saying, and they said similar about Liverpool not being able to win the treble. And about a month and a half ago in my head, I went, look, I've got a few aims now for the season. City finishing the Champions League spots, top 4 or 5, whatever it's going to be. Arsenal winning football, because why not? And Liverpool not winning the treble. That's all I wanted, you know. And obviously United being shit, but that's a given these days. So yeah, I'm really happy they're not going to win the treble as well, because it's our treble, you know. Absolutely is. But yeah, thank you very much. Liking the shirt as well. It's a new shirt actually. I got it from H&M. I wanted to wear a shirt today. I went out for a nice meal. The Pearl in Prestwich, by the way. My old friend runs it. It's first time. Phenomenal. Genuinely fine dining, beautiful. I would recommend it. The final thing I want to talk about is I felt during that, and I don't know if it'll be reactionary, but I feel like City right now are lacking a little magic. I feel like we're lacking a little bit of genius, not in terms of dribbling. We've got plenty of good dribblers, you know. Doku back in the team, and Mamouche seems to have a good dribble on him too, and obviously Savino and so on. We're not lacking that, but I feel like we're lacking a little bit of innovation creatively. Right now, Kevin De Bruyne, look, Jack Grealish played a lovely De Bruyne rest pass to De Bruyne, but if De Bruyne's not doing it, then it feels like no one is, you know, like no one is. And I feel like Foden has lost a little bit of his magic recently. Foden's become more of a goal scorer. The old magic dribbles and little kind of delicate passes have disappeared a tiny bit. I feel like we need right now a playmaker to spark some life into City. And a lot of this has been prompted by me watching Claudio Echeverri for the Argentina under-20s, where I must admit he looks a lot further on than I actually realised. Echeverri has been the best player at the under-20 World Cup so far. Under-20 South Copa America, is it? I don't know what it is. It's not World Cup, is it? Under-20 Copa America. And he looks absolutely excellent. And the guy is full of magic. Like, you know that real spark that a player has. When you look at De Bruyne a few years back, even Foden a couple of years back, where they just look every time they get the ball, they're going to do something special. Oscar Bob has it as well. I think Oscar Bob does have that a little bit, you know. But when I see, and I don't think Jack would ever have that either. I feel like I don't think Jack Grealish is that player. But essentially, I feel like City lack a magician right now, you know. Dribblers, sure, flair players, but a magician. Someone who sees that pass. Someone who does something that gets, you know, that, whoa. That, like when the crowd take a deep breath because they go, because De Bruyne has just played a reverse pass out of nowhere or played a beautiful first-time flick to someone. Doku's a dribbler, but I don't think we have anyone who's going to play that, step past the player and play a reverse pass through and just up the tempo. And I think that's what we're lacking right now, you know. And I look through the team, I don't think, the wingers, there's some good wingers, but I don't think there's any great passers other than De Bruyne in our side right now. Is there anyone when you would say is a genuinely great passer in our side? Rodri has it, by the way, but he's not there. And I don't think we have right now. Like, we had at one point Pete Gundogan. Kovacic hasn't got magic. Kovacic can pass every now and then, but he isn't magic. You know what I mean? No magic. We go back to the very best of Man City. Pete Gundogan. You had Pete David Silva. You had Pete Kevin De Bruyne. A young Phil Foden. You know, like. But I'm on about magic in the past. You know, the creative geniuses. But right now, we've got an old De Bruyne. We've got no one. De Bruyne is old, not as good. Gundogan can't do it anymore. Foden looks a little bit formulaic at the moment. So this is what I'm on about. And I do feel like I want City to find some of that finesse, some of that magic again. I don't feel like we're there. Bernardo used to have it. Bernardo can't pass anymore either. I feel like we've lost a little bit of creativity, essentially. And I don't mean just a guy who can run at people. We have to be smarter than that, you know. The wingers are great, but you need the guys who find the wingers. Previously, we had the wingers in Sane, Sterling, Mahrez, and we also had David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. Fernandinho played beautiful diagonals as well every now and then. So that's where I feel we're at right now, you know. Phil can pass it. That's what's frustrating me. I look at Phil 2 years ago and he was playing lovely passes. But Phil right now has turned into a second striker where he scores lots of goals. But I miss the version of Phil that was more of an 8, a bit deeper and got the ball and went past people every now and then. Played lovely, sort of dictated play. We've seen it occasionally, man. But he's just not doing it these days for whatever reason. And I don't know why. And I miss it. I truly miss it. I think that's where we're at. So there are 5 things I took away from this anyway. I think Khusanov shows signs of being a real proper defender. He's physical, he's strong, he's aggressive, he relishes it. He lacks experience, he lacks age, he lacks the English language, which will help him, and a bit of chemistry, but he has all the physical tools and a really natural eye for a tackle. I know it sounds really obvious, but some people, they read the game well because they're so obsessed with the art of defending that they're focused and they can see it and they can see it unfold, and I really like that. So Khusanov, a proper defender that I feel very comfortable in, actually. I feel really comfortable. I feel like we've got a young Otamendi with pace. I know that sounds mad, but I really like that. Maybe not even a young Otamendi, if it's just a young Diaz with pace. And once we hone that, could be special. Second thing I want to talk about is that in that 20 minutes, and it was only 20 minutes, we saw signs of Nico showing real promise. You know, a couple of headers in his area, which we haven't seen for a long time from our defensive midfielders. 2, the beautiful diagonal pass over the top, and 3, the ability to do tactical fouls. It was really encouraging. Third thing I want to talked about was Nico O'Reilly. He has to stay and develop. I really do. I think he's shown his promise, he's shown his potential, and he's got the physical side to match it. When you've got Morgan Rogers being so good at Villa, do not let this one go too, because that would be, look, fool me once, fair enough. Fool me twice, it's my fault then. You know what I mean? 4th was Vitor Reis in a bright future. A lot of promise in that young lad. It took a bit of time, but technically good. And finally, obviously, City lacking a bit of magic. One more super chat before I end this video. Thank you so much to Adu again. It says City has to go for Wirtz, more like KDB. Musiala is more like Phil Foden. I agree, actually. Wirtz would be my ideal signing, though I don't think, weirdly, Wirtz is interested in City. I'm just getting the feeling that he's not. I don't know. I can't sense it. Maybe I'm wrong there, but there's no links that seem to, you know, validate anything reverts to Man City. I get the impression we're not really his target. He'll end up at Bayern, but I'd love him. A genius footballer. Guys, thanks for watching this episode of 5 Things That We Learned. I'm going to chill now. I've had a lovely day. I hope you've had a lovely day too. Thank you for watching this. It's really appreciated. Give the video a like and subscribe if you don't mind. Once again, I want to into 75k by a month or two. That would be good. And finally, people keep asking. There is no update on Nico, unfortunately. We'll see. We'll find out tomorrow, I reckon. In a bit, like the video, subscribe. Have a wonderful evening.